mysterious story.
It seems that these YouTubers actually had trouble and must be courageous enough to confront some very serious situations. Perhaps the only thing more terrifying than their immediate fear is the unbearable remorse that they are in this situation in the first place. Number 12. This Russian fisherman appears to have his hand trapped in the mouth of an aquatic beast and requires immediate assistance. If you can translate this section, please listen to it. Even shoving a plank of wood and a rod of steel into the creature's mouth at the same time is insufficient to free his arm, which is trapped up to the wrist in the creature's enormous jaws. After 2.5 minutes of struggle, he attempts to relieve the pressure on his hand by using the plank as a car jack. It seems that both of his friends have mostly quitted by this point, judging by their anxious expressions. If you are aware of what type of fish this is based on the video, please let me know. Number 11. Victor Curry 30, a YouTuber, is taking part in a cake eating contest with oversized spoons when one of them gets their utensil stuck deep inside their mouth. They are all amused by the situation until they notice that there seems to be no effortless way to get it out of her mouth.
Are you okay? Are you okay? What is it hurt?
What's particular anxiety is how they have to push the spoon even deeper in to get the right angle for removal. She appears to be on the verge of being unable to breathe here. Number 10.
I'm gonna save a kid out of a trunk right now. He locked himself in.
It appears that there is a YouTuber named David Nguyen hearing noises emerging from a car's trunk when he finds that a young boy has unintentionally locked himself inside. It's a hot summer day, and because the child needs to be saved from danger right away, David breaks out a window and enters. He frantically searches for a button that will open the trunk. And they are certain that the child is having lost a large amount of water from the body, and there is no time to waste. Eventually, the trunk opens, revealing a terrified child. His hair and shirt are obviously wetted thoroughly in sweat, and he is not faking any of this. Despite the fact that he seems to be okay for the time being, I would have brought him to the doctor just to be secure. Please tell me what you would have done next according to what you've witnessed. Fortunately, this man was not far away to do something that prevents a likely defeat. Number 9. It looks like that these friends are hanging out at the end of a cul-de-sac when one of them, Robert, falls down a deep sewer grate and loses his skateboard. Despite the fact that most skaters would probably give up right there, Robert pushes his way through the grate and becomes as stuck as his board. Both of them chortle and make jokes when they look forward to rescuing workers arriving. However, the situation is far more serious than anyone is letting on, as evidenced by the nervous nail biting. The fire department can't open a nearby manhole cover. They think quickly, then they drop a line for Robert to catch and eventually fish him out that way. After the entire ordeal comes to an end, one of the men remarks that Robert is fortunate to survive.
You know what's down there?
Not really, probably a lot of diseases.
Yeah, well, not only that, but there could be like chemicals that could kill you like that, dude. It's a sewer. You know what I'm saying?
It seems that this calm and professional explanation should make Robert think twice if something like this takes place one more time. Number 8. Blamzuka, a YouTuber, is anxiously looking forward to an intense water park ride to start. When his friend redistributes and he remains trapped in the tube, he is aware that something is not correct. It quickly becomes clear that getting out will be difficult, especially since a control panel that appears to be malfunctioning seals the door shut.
You okay in there?
If the ride begins with Blamzuka in this position, he may land incorrectly and cause some damage. It looks like he is compelled to stay in the tube with his hands over his shoulders, almost like a casket, and cold water running down his back the entire time. Lastly, they bring him into a second tube and open the door. They eventually send him down the ride on a third tube after this tube is an error in the same manner. And I feel surprised that he didn't give up when the same thing took place a second time, based on his terrified reaction. Number 7. Shah Bryanez, a YouTuber, seems to be looking forward to riding a roller coaster with his daughter Jen at Disneyland. When this unexpectedly occurs to them at the top of the ride, they discover much more suspense than they bargained for. After about 40 minutes, a mechanic wearing a safety harness walks up a ramp with an anxious expression on his face.
Yeah. I'm making sure it's safe to drop.
Despite the fact that I believe that he is attempting to hide a great deal of concern for their safety here, please share with me if you agree. A short time later, there is another malfunction that makes Shah and Jen unable to hide their own anxious expressions. This time, the roller coaster goes in the opposite direction before coming to a halt one more time. Despite the fact that they are protected out of the cart one by one, they are not completely secure. Watch this section and share with me if you're courageous enough to walk down these steep steps, which do not have any safety railing on the right.
Yes, so head down, just take your time and hang on.
Lastly, they make it down nearly an hour and a half later, relieved to be back on solid ground. Number 6. Ella, a student, had her whole hand stuck in a paper towel dispenser one day. I have no idea how she did it, and neither do her classmates. All I am aware of is that she appears to be stuck and that there is not anyone breaking free her hand for the duration of the video.
Just pull out and over you. And a house! It's raining.
Dragging her arm doesn't assist and appears to make matters worse. Aside from how this took place, I want to ask a question about what can be done to get her out. Despite the fact that I'm predicting an ambulance was called to dismantle the dispenser, or at the very least remove it from the wall, we won't be aware for sure because the video is only 1 minute and 16 seconds long. Number 5. Carly Gum, a YouTuber who discovered the difficult way that takes place when you push your tongue into a pole in sub-zero temperatures. She eventually can pull quickly her tongue away from the surface, leaving a red stain behind. Despite the fact that I hope she's alright, I wouldn't be surprised if her tongue requires medical attention by the end. Number 4. After their ladder falls, making them stranded 14 feet in the air with no way down, these contractors become trapped on a roof. Soon after, they extemporize a security harness that appears to be nothing more than a haphazardly knotted collection of cords. Despite the fact that I seriously suspect that this design could support his weight, please share me with what you believe. When they discover something in the distance, they are attempting to find what to do next. Keep an eye on his feet and let me know if he appears to lose his balance at the end.
There's a car! Come on! Oh, come on! Hey! Hey!
He is really careful to lower himself to the bottom while avoiding breaking the harness. In the end, the harness seems to be very loose and could have not been tied at any time. They appear to be the drop at the end, and it appears that they were up high enough to cause serious damage. Number 3. CTV 911, a YouTuber, is going to see the new Star Wars film when the crowded mall elevator suddenly pauses, trapping him along with other anxious passengers. Despite the fact that I'm not sure, I believe that one of them is attempting to oblige the doors open here, possibly to allow more air into the elevator. Please watch this segment and share with me what you think they're attempting to say to him not to do.
Hey, anybody up there?
It's getting unbearably hot in here. Have you tried the phone again to let them know someone's going down?
If he had actually attempted to open the doors, I couldn't help but wonder what would have taken place. After about 9 minutes, one of the passengers collapses and suffers from a full-fledged panic attack.
You don't have a medicine at all?
It isn't until 40 minutes later that someone assists. Because firefighters are unable to open the doors, they must enter through the top of the elevator. Despite their welcome arrival, shrapnel rains down on the waiting crowd.
Watch your eyes, guys. There's screws everywhere, too.
I'm still
going up?
Hey, can I have it?
Yeah, you can have it. We don't want it.
Hey, we're trying to help.
It seems that they cram a ladder into the elevator and bring everyone up one at a time. Despite the fact that the YouTuber misses his film, is relieved he won't have to spend any more time in that restricted space. Number 2. It seems that Adam Grayson is filming a YouTube video while in the hospital after an allergic reaction makes his whole hand bloat. His wedding ring constricts hard enough into the flesh of his finger to cut off circulation. A surgeon must now use only his or her trained eye and a tiny circular saw to cut through the thin band of metal. A single blunder will exacerbate the situation tenfold.
Ah, that's hot.
The saw's friction generates such intense become hot that nurses must constantly squirt water on the ring to cool it down. To remove the ring, they must delicately split through every last millimeter of it. You can see how close they have to come to Adam's finger before they can pry it off. When they come to an end with the procedure, Adam's finger is red and tender. I have no doubt that he would have lost an index finger unless he had arrived at the hospital in time. Number 1. Jason L., a YouTuber, and his friend Kevin are rock climbing when they discover a narrow and claustrophobic crevice. Despite the fact that Jason follows Kevin's lead because he doesn't want to be left behind, his firm determination wanes about halfway through.
Kinda wishing we didn't come in here, Kevin. Why? I'm pretty terrified.
It seems that Jason makes the worst decision of his life in less than 10 seconds.
Oh no.
Here, give me the...
My foot's stuck. My foot's stuck. I'm so serious, I can't move.
After some initial panic, he sets down his foot out of his shoe and attempts to use both hands to remove it after some effort. You are likely to notice what would have taken place if Jason L. had lost his balance and fallen forward instead of stepping out of his shoe if he had tripped and fallen forward. And it appears to be a sharp drop down a series of spiky rocks that could have effortlessly caused broken bones and an emergency airlift. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because I upload a new video every day. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of my other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy.